Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar on why AI is no longer optional for multi-location retail. I am Dr. Hitesh Bhatt, and I'm delighted that you all could join us today for this webinar on AI, along with our partner, Single Interface. Retailers with multiple locations face challenges like operational consistency, localized marketing, and making sense of real-time data. That's why AI has gone from a buzzword to a must-have. It tackles these issues head-on by helping us achieve operational consistency, drive localized marketing, and turn real-time data into actionable insights. I am happy that today I am joined by Chandu Reddy, Director at Sangeetha Gadgets Private Limited, and Lovelene Agarwal, Head of Operations at Single Interface, who will share their insights on how AI is transforming multi-location retail. Before that, in my perspective, as far as retail is concerned, AI refers to the use of data, machine learning, and predictive technologies to make smarter decisions, from managing inventory and personalizing offers to enhancing customer journeys across both digital and physical spaces. It enables brands to be faster, sharper, and more relevant at every touch point. Today, AI is not simply a tool to manage complexity. It is fast becoming the foundation for how brands evolve, compete, and stay connected with the consumers in a world defined by speed, personalization, and fluid expectations. Retailers who embed AI in the very core of their strategy across stores, supply chains, customer experiences, and business models will be the ones who will be shaping the future and not chasing it. With this, a brief introduction about our panelist, Chandu Reddy. Chandu Reddy, as I had said, is a director at Sangeetha Gadgets Private Limited, a leading mobile retail chain based in Bengaluru, India, with a strong presence across South India. His leadership drives Sangeetha Mobile's strategic growth, customer-centric innovations, and operational excellence, making him a key figure for discussing mobile retail trends. My other colleague today is Lovelene Agarwal. Lovelene heads operations at Single Interface, bringing over 2 decades of extensive experience in operations management, client relationship management, service delivery, process migration, and outsourcing offshoring. At Single Interface, he leads a team of over 40 members driving expertise in optimizing Google business profiles, mastering background operations, and handling hyperlocal data intricacies. Lovelene is widely regarded as an expert in Google's ecosystem with deep knowledge of the algorithms and operational intricacies involved in end-to-end Google business profile management. I welcome Chandu and Lovelene to this webinar. Over to you, Lovelene.
Thank you, Hitesh. With that introduction, I think we can quickly move to what we want to present today. Here, so there's a widely asked question that when I interact with most of the clients that we work with, most of the brands that we work with, is, and that's a fundamental question: what is the most common signal that a brand looks at and see that they started losing control of their digital presence, and that kind of resonates across the spectrum, across industries, and every brand that operates at a hyperlocal level. Usually they ask this question to themselves. Now, the key factor there is, and this again applies not just to Google, but even platforms like Meta, Instagram, Facebook, etc., and Bing as well, is that the information at the hyperlocal level for all the store listings, etc., if that is outdated or if it is inaccurate, that's the first tick where a consumer will feel like moving away and the brand will start losing their digital presence. And that usually happens when stores are or brands rather operating at more than 100 locations per brand. That's where we start seeing those cracks appear, because it's manually very tedious to go about ensuring, checking, validating, and updating the information across multiple stores to the tune of 100 and more. There are outdated details. There are calls that are missed when they are routed to a central number. The reviews are not responded to on a timely basis, and that's when the consumers start feeling left out. Even things like inaccurate hours, listings that are not verified, again, can lead to consumers not being able to reach out to the brand, because either they're not able to go to the right location if the lat long is incorrect. Google, in fact, also, when the listings are not verified, will stop and redact the listings from getting published live and showing up high on the SEO search. So all of this time together kind of leads to the brands losing their online digital presence. There are also scenarios where multiple users that are managing the brand's visibility across different platforms and across the internet, even within the brand's ecosystem, there are users like at a dealership level, at a store level, there are store managers, etc., who are managing those respective listings. They may end up making changes that may not be consistent with the brand's online or offline presence. And sometimes these changes may not be accurate as well, leading to the consumers again not being able to trust the info. And then Google also identifying multiple different variety of information which is not consistent with the brand, as Google assumes that the brands are not largely managed at a central level. And then that can lead to the brand losing their ranking at that location level on the online digital platforms.
Thanks, Lovelene. A question that arises out here is, from your experience, what's the most common signal that a brand has, started losing control of its digital presence?
Yeah, that's the most important one, which is the inaccurate information which I was referring to earlier, of outdated information or inaccurate information. Now imagine a scenario where a brand has updated their product catalog. However, and I'm taking an example of Google Business Profile, because that's the most extensively used online presence management platform. On the Google Business Profile, those products and services are not updated. Now, what will typically happen is, and I can probably take an example of Sangeetha gadgets. If there is a new product catalog and iPhone 16, for example, has come in and has been recently launched, but the product catalog is not updated to include iPhone 16, there could be consumers who may end up searching for iPhone 16, but Sangeetha gadgets local listing will not appear in those searches. And that will lead to Sangeetha gadgets or any other such brand losing out on potential consumers.
Okay. Chandu, I have a question for you. Sangeeta has always been known for, putting customers first. And from your experience of leading such a large retail network, what operational realities convinced you that AI was essential to maintain that customer first commitment at scale?
See, at Sangeetha, yes, we just answered a question which probably didn't, we never thought about it that way, which is what really makes a retailer think that, oh, I'm missing out on something that I need to go and check and probably adapt. We have never, as a company, I mean, with all humility, I say that we've always been ahead of the curve. So we have never missed out on something and then realized that we need to harp on to it. So it was something always checking out that option the moment it is there. The sooner that it is there, we are wanting to try it out. If nothing else, there are more things that we have started and said, no, we don't want to do this than the ones that we have retained, because we would have tried so many more things. There was a time when you buy a phone at Sangeetha and you get an air ambulance service for 1 year free. So something out of the blue, unconnected, is something which we do. So at Sangeetha, how do we look at AI? what are the operational things you asked? So how do we look at AI? First thing is we definitely believe that AI holds our cards of the future. That is, we have to put that out there that it's going to be a significant part of our lives professionally as well as personally. It's going to be as much as probably the Humans TV series, if we have watched and long back. It's pretty old, but many times tech guys take references from what sci-fi movies make, right? More rather than the other way around. So yes, you can definitely foresee something like that happening in the future.
Thanks, Chandu. Over to you, Lovelene, to take this ahead.
Yeah. That brings us to the next discussion point. Where do we see the market already moving? I can start with some context on this. Hitesh, would you have a question to ask first, or should I just start quickly with the context on this?
You can start with the context.
Yeah. So like it's been discussed umpteen number of times, where we kind of discussed in the last 10 minutes that AI is making a quick foray into the retail tech. Not just retail tech, but in fact, worldwide across different industries, across different segments. Most importantly, what we see right now is from a purely retail market growth perspective, 2025 is more of an inflection point where we are seeing the AI adoption to grow exponentially. And here on, whichever company, whichever brand starts leading with AI will actually be the first movers, and they will have that first mover advantage as well. For example, a recent study revealed that about the AI retail market is expected to grow at a 31.8% CAGR. Now, AI is going to get integrated very deeply across not just the the outreach, the marketing aspect of the brands, but overall everything that they do in respect to serving the customers, whether it is reaching out to them, whether it is addressing their queries, the sale points, resolutions, after sale service, etc., etc. Everything will be covered by AI. That's where we see that there's a huge opportunity for a lot of brands at this point that are not really integrating AI into their businesses to start adopting AI and full-fledged.
One question to you, Lovelene. I can see that this growth curve is sharp. From what you are seeing on ground, what's really driving this acceleration in AI, adopting AI adoption amongst large format retailers?
Yeah, see, large format retailers, we are talking about to the tune where they have online or rather physical presence of 100 or more stores. Now, like I was referring to earlier during the previous slide, it becomes difficult to manage the updating of information, to manage the online presence at scale, especially when you're operating with 100 and more physical locations. This is where the human aspect will have to be swapped with an AI-enabled architectural support, where AI can start updating that at a faster speed. All the information that is required to be corrected, updated, enhanced has to be driven through AI and not through human interventions. Human interventions will eventually, while there is a time lag, it also leads to inaccuracies. When one individual is going and updating an information on a Google business profile, they may end up making a mistake. And that's where AI revels. It ensures that all of the information that gets updated is happening accurately.
Sure. Chandu, this question is for you. Was there a point at Sangeetha where AI moved away from a supportive function to something essential across your day-to-day operations?
Absolutely. Just connecting on one point I missed on the previous question also related to this is how probably majority of the retailers stumble upon a case where they're required to do this is marketing. I mean, that's more from what Lovelene is saying, that you keep your relevant key points updated on Google. Now Now, where do you stump? Where does a customer come to that place? He finds you on some marketing, and then he comes on Google and types, and then he has reached that point where when he's typing and still you're not showing up, then something is really wrong. So your which means finally your marketing is not working, right? That will be your trigger point. That will be your signal. Alarm bells will ring, are supposed to ring at marketing level where your ROAS is not showing up as great as before AI versus after AI. So because all these parameters which Lovelene has mentioned are not updated. So coming to your current question of when has it moved from supportive function to a more essential one is yes, definitely today, once you have hopped onto that, there are quite a few like that. For example, our personalization on our website, you can say. So AI in retail offline, you can say in a different way that look at a customer interaction on a touch point like a call center, look at a customer interaction on a website. There is more information that you have about your customer, more control that you have over your customer on these two platforms as against a offline scenario where a customer standing right in front of your salesman. How adaptive is he to the context that the customer is speaking about or the previous history that the customer has with the company? The boy cannot probably on the fly be so adaptive to bring the best of service for the customer, whereas the same colleague of his on a call center might be much better. So AI in retail probably has to do many things to first bring retail up to speed with other channels of the same organization is what I see. So there are some stuff like that that we have implemented, which now are a no turn back kind of no looking back kind of scenario. One of the top ones being that I can name couple, but single interface being one of the top ones that we have implemented here because there is so much information that the customer is already given in the first interaction with the company that when he which is on the call, so when he checks out on Google and then he clicks the button and calls the company, he would have already expressed all his needs. So in 2025 you cannot ask a customer to repeat things. He cannot be coming to the store and you start by saying, yes sir, how can I help you? He's already told you how he can help you. So this one of the many things I can mention as it's become such an essential. And now we have taken this to the next level that not only even calls, even store conversations that happen in offline are under record now for us.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. So just a while back, I was telling you that we get a lot. I can go type a keyword in single interface
Ah,
as Xiaomi, as let's say Bajaj Finance, and I
yeah.
actually see how many conversations have happened with these keywords. So every month we get probably around 60,000 inbound calls, and all of them are routed through single interface. And this helps us to do a keyword analysis. Whereas AI coming here is the keyword analysis or the sentiment analysis, or first of all, the summarization of the call and the transcription of the call. So this has become one of the top essential AI use.
I think Chandu that 60,000 words for the single
60,000
brand
calls.
calls
60,000
for the
calls.
single brand is humongous and human it will be very difficult for humans to comprehend the whole data. And
Yes.
this is I think where AI comes into the picture that you can synchronize it and systematically get the analysis done. I think that is fantastic and that's what AI is all about. With this, I would like to go to the next slide and
Yeah, before we move ahead, Hitesh, I wanted to add a few things to what we were discussing. And
please.
rightly said by Chandu, AI cannot just be integrated at one aspect of the organization or the brand. It has to seamlessly operate across multiple channels and multiple functions within the brand. Now, take an example. For example, I was referring to inaccuracies and how those can be managed at scale with AI. but it just doesn't stop there. AI can be integrated into, for example, there are calls that when the customers call us or call the brand, converting the call transcript from speech to text, analyzing hundreds and thousands of calls, identifying a clear pattern from those call transcripts, identifying the sentiments, and then bringing to the fore what are the clear actionables based on the customer feedback and what the customers are perceiving the brand as, acts as a very important impetus for the brand to go ahead with and then start addressing chinks in the armor, start addressing how do they optimally reach out and ensure that they're addressing and servicing the customers. Then there are scenarios where the brands are, the consumers rather, are submitting reviews on Google Business Profile, or they're submitting reviews on Meta and various other platforms. Analyzing those reviews, identifying a clear trend and summary based on the reviews. For example, and I again take Sangeetha Gadgets as a brand, for example, there are certain locations, certain stores of Sangeetha Gadgets where the calls when they're landing, the consumers are essentially talking about iPhone 16 and how good it is at photography or in the camera. Now, if that comes out as a very clear trend, AI can give you actionable insights on that, saying that 31, 35%, 39% customers are talking about iPhone 16 and they're talking about camera. Or maybe 20% customers are talking about iPhone 16, but they're talking about heating issues, and so on and so forth. And these can be used to change the product catalog in terms of outreaching the customers, addressing their queries, etc., helps the brand immensely.
Nice. We'll go to the next slide, Lovelene.
Yeah.
You want me to do the context, or you will do it?
Yeah, no, I'll start.
Sure.
So today, just searching for near me, and this is what used to happen over the past 8 to 10 odd years. Consumers, when Google launched this near me concept of doing local searches, consumers used to usually type laptop near me or mobile near me, etc., etc. Now today, that itself is not enough. Consumers are increasingly becoming digital savvy and also AI savvy, and they are using intent-based searches and not just location-based searches, which is where it becomes hugely critical for brands to adapt to this new emerging trend of how the hyperlocal searches happen.
Okay, so I have a question on that, Lovelene. What's shifted in the consumer search behavior that marketers often underestimate today?
Yeah, interesting question. So what we are seeing largely is there are a lot of action-based and intent-based searches that the consumers are doing. They're searching for open now. They're searching for ready stock. They're searching for nearby with offers, with discounts. They're searching for high review brands. And that's how the search behavior has changed among the consumers. Proximity alone, just saying near me is not enough. The stores have to have some context of what's the urgency of the consumer, what kind of promotions to leverage that the consumers can leverage, what category are they typically looking at, and all of that needs to be embedded in the digital presence of each hyperlocal location of the brand. And they need to start using AI to kind of identify emerging trends for a particular industry, particular brand in a particular location, and then modify the categories, the urgency, the promotions, etc., to kind of address to those needs. AI typically operates at a large data level where it dynamically adjusts all those listings, details, optimizes them for discovery, changing operating hours, or identifying which operating hours are relevant at which location and what kind of demographic searches. AI also helps create profiles of consumers and gives clear audience cohorts for the brands to kind of address. They could be audience cohort of 30 to 40-year male, tech savvy, usually going on streaming platforms and searching for relevant needs. The brands can position their product portfolio, service portfolio, and start leveraging the marketing activity on that particular medium. For example, like I said, streaming platforms. AI can also help adjust special offers. Even temporary closures of locations can be optimally updated based on different signals that we receive. There is a lot of influence that is happening through AI on search assistants as well, like Gemini, Siri, Alexa, and consumers are increasingly using those to kind of narrow down on their unique hyperlocal search.
I think this is, an imperative, how AI adopts listings and content dynamically to match these, real-time expectations of the consumer in real time. I think this is something which is an imperative for all the retailers now if they want to capture the consumers and the market share. With this,
Just
we'll go to
a
the,
point to add on to what Lovelene
yeah,
said.
yeah, Chandu, please.
World over, apparently, organizations are applications of AI for organizations world over are primarily starting from supply chain, going into like logistics and fulfillment, and then probably customer personalization.
Yeah,
But here, rightfully so, we have not been having applications of AI in supply chain first, but more from agentic AI or even more from uh, we being prepared for where customer is doing the agentic AI on Google. Because what is retail?
yeah,
Retail, the only biggest difference is that we're consumer facing, right? So everything revolves around the consumer. So supply chain, while that also impacts the customer, here it's a more direct. Customers directly interacting with the agent. So this is agentic AI, not generative AI or other kinds of AI. So here it's all about context. Why was GPT-1 not as preferred? Because it was speaking out of context. Why was Gemini found wanting on many occasions? Because it was out of context. So the first thing that these guys are trying to build is context. So what Lovelene spoke about here is all about context. Now this agentic AI, it has to go pick it up from, they leave that bot and go and say pick it up from the internet, from all the sources that you can gather and give the information to the customer, right? So here is what we are doing to help that agentic AI give better answers to our customer who is trying to search for us. So if you don't update your listing properly to being open now, the timings and what all features you have or don't have, the customer who's trying to search for you, you are not connecting them properly. You're being out of context for the
yeah.
customer. So context is the biggest thing for the agentic AI, and having the readiness on our side for a customer who's searching becomes very important. For a retail organization, probably AI in other departments come later. The first place that you probably want to get your AI to do the job is where the customer is, which is all the touch points where he's trying to connect to you.
The first place where you have to be present with AI is where your customer is and which all touch points does he come across. I think this sums it up, Chandu. Well said. With this, we'll go to the next slide. Lovelene, please.
Yeah. Now this brings us to the question, what happens when you, as in when the brands don't act on things that are relevant for the consumers, for today's consumers. Things like managing inconsistencies, managing the information at scale. All of this will have consequences if there are failures in any of those steps. It can lead to loss of local search ranking. It can lead to, for example, if the calls that the consumers are making are not attended, can lead to high call miss rates and then negatively impact the customer's perception of the brand. Negative reviews will spiral out of control, and all of this will lead to reputation damage and lost footfall.
Sure. Before I come to Lovelene, Chandu, I have a question for you. Before AI came into the picture, what broader operational challenges did Sangeetha face? Just beyond listings, that impacted your ability to give excellent customer experience across all the locations that you have.
The single biggest challenge for us was knowing the footfalls, knowing the count of footfalls that used to come in, and some analytics, some more thing broader than just the count, like gender and grouping of how many people came as one person, how many people came as three persons, or a heat map of the store, or what was the dwell time in the store. These were some things that we were required. Everything starts in a sales funnel. First, you need to know the first parameter, the input, which is how many people came in. So without that, there is no funnel. So that was the most important thing. So video analytics is something we have moved to than just footfall counting. So some of the places we have implemented that now are, we our staff attendance is by the hour now. It's not by the day, because of the video analytics that is detecting a person, how long he's there. So we have AI footfall count, AI video analytics, because it's not just put a parameter that if he's wearing a blue shirt, you consider him as a Sangeetha staff. So it does many more things than that to determine that he's a staff or not. Because sometimes we have in Sangeetha, in our industry, we have finance promoters. For example, a Bajaj finance promoter, he moves around a competition store and then he comes back here. So I cannot ask him to wear Sangeetha uniform. So he will be in his uniform. Sometimes in small towns they are without a uniform. So, but if it detects him as a footfall, it will affect the metric of my store team. Thereby, we had to get this AI footfall, AI video analytics, which will determine whether he's a customer or not. And another very important thing that was lacking before is, which we are still yet to fix in a offline retail environment, but we have fixed in a call environment thanks to single interface, is feedback after purchase is all that we had. In most of the cases, most of the industries, we only look at feedback post purchase. We want feedback real time, or rather, we want feedback of every single thing that happened. You imagine a scenario like this: you went to a restaurant and you told that food is not hot. If this is the scenario, he will never pass this feedback. In this situation, he'll never give that feedback to the company. Only if you tell it is too salty or I don't want this, only in extreme cases, he will pass that feedback to the next layer. Whereas as a company, I want to know every single minute detail of what I can improve. So that is where we are going to the next step of entire conversation in the store between the customer and the staff also is on record, which can analyze the tone of what this salesman is speaking as well, which we can improve it. Another thing was AI chatbot, of course, that thanks to WhatsApp and a couple of other companies, where bot was one of the first implementations for us.
So I think, Chandu, you did mention about a couple of very, very important points. Number of people coming inside the stores, AI footfall count, attendance by the hours and not by the day, real-time feedback by the customers, tone analysis of the customers, and AI chatbots, etc. I think these are some of one of or some of the many that you have mentioned, which is an imperative for the retailer to manage his
We're
store
also doing
operations.
route optimization.
Route optimization. Okay, that also is very critical because in your case, definitely route optimization does make
Yeah.
a lot of
We started that only about
important.
1.5 years ago because we started 30-minute delivery. So in India, we were the first ones to launch 30-minute delivery way back in 2013, even before the words we give was born. So that's when we launched a separate website itself called shopnumber47.com, which was delivering in 47 minutes way back in 2013, 14 onwards till around 18. Then, just like many other people, we thought, does a person really require a phone in such speed? And we shelved that company. But now we are realizing that that was what that mattered in a way, in another sense. Another thing that we are doing is a single view of customer. So when a customer comes into the store, we are trying to empower the L1 level one staff of the store to be a lot more armored with the history of this customer. So all this audio recording of single interface, what we capture, the summary of that, the sentiment of that is passed on, where the staff at the store can see his previous interactions, the customer's previous interactions, and then do. And another, we are bringing AI search. One of the things that we are doing, working on right now is we're bringing AI search that will first go into the website and then also be made available for the store staff. What this does is imagine a customer coming to the store and saying, I want sweat-proof headphones. Now, unfortunately, the staff does not know which of the SKUs which are available with him, which probably are sweat-proof headphones. He cannot immediately relate and say, "Oh, this feature is there in this thing," because of the number of SKUs that are there in our business. Or somebody might come and say, "Which skin type allows me to use what kind of product?" Let's say even probably the brand website probably doesn't have this information, for example, let's assume. But somewhere somebody would have written a blog about it. So whatever the customer types in that search bar, it is going to search the entire internet in context of this SKUs which we have. Any matching parameters, it will bring that SKU. That's another feature that we're bringing.
I think, Chandu, you have already listed 10 such features and the use cases out here, chatbots and route optimization, single view customer search and funnel feedback, tone, etc. With this, I want to ask Lovelene, from your operational audit, Lovelene, that you guys do, what are some of the biggest inefficiencies you see when the brands try to manage visibility manually at scale?
Yeah, Hitesh, so typically what we see with the brands that we work with is when it's a manual human intervention led execution of enhancing visibility, sharing insights and trends, etc. There's a lot of things that can actually go missing. And especially when inaccuracies and inconsistencies creep in, Google's algorithms, they actually, while they favor and promote and incentivize discreetly in terms of the visibility and ranking, etc., where the information is updated, Google's algorithms also demote and de-incentivize businesses where the information is inconsistent and inaccurate. Even, for example, minor address mismatches can lead to ranking loss for the respective location. There are scenarios where, let's say, there are missed calls. Consumers at the point of action where they have the highest intent, and they're calling, and there is a abandoned call. This can lead to customers presuming and perceiving the brand as having poor customer service at their end, and this can again lead to poor service quality. There are reviews that the brands submit, the consumers submit on the respective listings of a brand. What you've seen is when the reviews are not getting responded to, and there are a lot of brands that come to us where they are in that state where the reviews are not actively responded to. And when the autoresponders are set in, and we have agentic AIs that operate at that level where they're actively real-time responding to customer reviews, we've seen tremendous improvement to the tune of 200%, 300% in the way the brand is perceived and the responses that they're receiving from the consumers. Agentic AIs can help tremendously in ensuring that all of these areas where human interventions are lagging behind solely due to the scale and the task at hand. Agentic AIs can intervene smartly, real time, and it can be operated at a scalable level where they can manage 1,000, 10,000, even 100,000 locations in one go in real time.
Wow. 100,000 locations in real time. And that's
For each
something,
brand.
yeah, for each brand. Wow. That's humongous, I mean, and that's the power of AI. That's why, again, I'm repeating it, and I'm going to repeat it till the end of this, that AI is an imperative for retailers today. With this, I would request Lovelene to, take us to the next point
Yeah,
where,
that brings us to the next one.
yeah,
And I will request Chandu to lead this slide.
Yeah. So yeah. So we've touched upon this in a couple of sentences previously.
yes.
Customer first is the way, especially for a retail organization. If customer is not first, then which other place will customer be first? Especially even in any case scenario, whether it's AI adoption or anything else, you always have to keep an empty seat in your conference room, which denotes the customer's point of view, voice of customer. So you have to think from his and shopping habits are changing, and businesses have no other better work than reacting to those customers' changing habits. And while many of the retailers may find it difficult, or they might see it like a big mountain that they need to climb whenever you use new tech stuff like AI, or you talk about a ERP change, or you talk about a CRM, or all these things, many retailers might get a little nervous. The reason is because of their interactions with the previous situations that they had to deal with the change management, especially which involved technology. But one word out there to retailers is that AI is unlike any other technological change, because when you had to teach somebody Excel, Excel would not teach itself to somebody, right? A PowerPoint will not teach PowerPoint itself to somebody, but AI will teach you how to use AI. You can use AI to teach you AI. So that is one uniqueness of AI. And
So,
uh, yeah, sorry.
yeah, Chandu, please carry on.
Yeah.
I,
So some of the things that putting customer first at scale that we should probably be doing is, there are hundreds of things you can do with AI. In the context of retail, probably we want to see an entire store being run by, let's say, a manless store. Can we achieve that in retail? At Retailers Association of India, we talk about lot more issues concerning retailers, and RAI has been, it could not be better. Nobody can do it better than RAI in solving those things. So we have so many issues, right? For example, if AI had to help retailers, right, one of the best use case can be to fast track courts. If AI can put lawyers out of work, we'll be the most thankful, because there'll be so many scenarios where something is stuck in a court and we are fighting our way being on the right side. And probably an AI court can
yeah.
take care of such things. Or people like labor officers or anybody who come. Things are much better now. There are amazing officers who come and we salute them, but still we come across some of the other side. Even that, if government can look at, some AI application there to help retailers, that will be great. And
So Chandu, your represent your idea or your suggestion on Rai leading the AI change is well accepted, and this webinar is a testament to that. Our endeavor to ensure that everybody is well acquainted with AI, and definitely because this is the present and the future. But one thing that came to my mind, and this is a question to you, Chandu, that what is that one change or one result that stood out the most for Sangeetha, gadgets and mobiles, when you embedded AI across the company?
yeah, this is the one. So not just feedback as to what the customer says at the end of his entire interaction is no longer enough for us. Because many times in the industry, customers don't see, for example, in our childhood, we used to go to a power shop and sit there for 45 minutes before we got our turn. Did any customer give a feedback saying that why should I wait for so long? Why don't you implement an appointment system? Is it because of that feedback that today no salon allows you without an appointment? It is because of we retailers brought the change. So if you have to bring changes like that, our eyes and ears have to be open throughout. Our antennas have to be wide open. Now, for that, I need more and more information of the entire scenario, what's happening. So ideally, as a retailer of 800 locations, I should not get sleep not knowing what happened yesterday with my 5,000 odd transactions at 800 stores. So today, I have, it's mandatory in Sangeetha that we don't give the invoice to the customer without him giving a rating. You give a 0 rating, no worries. It takes you 1 second to give the rating. It's a digital invoice. It comes to you on WhatsApp. You click it, you open it on a browser. And once you open it, unless you give any star rating, your invoice won't pop up there. Why? Feedback matters like anything. Feedback is gold for us. So taking this to the next step, what is that one thing that we cannot stay without is today the entire conversation is what we want. What happened with the customer? Now that has been 100% achieved on a call through single interface. Now we are achieving the same thing even on a offline conversation. Now, taking that forward, we want to give, we have, given the task to one AI glasses company from Kerala who was working with GeoGlass. We gave them a brief that while the customer is talking, this speaker in his glasses should keep giving this person a prompt on what he should speak to the customer. Customer is not conducting an exam in a retail scenario as to whether the guy knows the information or not. Customer has come for information. That's it. I'm watching the news. Arnab Goswami doesn't know everything in the world. He has a teleprompter in front of him. So like that, we are trying to create something for the staff, which can be like a teleprompter for him. For example, tomorrow when there is going to be a virtual salesman, anyway, it's a system that is taking all the feed. If a humanoid comes in tomorrow, anyway, the humanoid will record everything. Without recording everything, it cannot produce anything.
Absolutely. So with this, Chandu, your case study. Let's ask Lovelene to explain this wonderful slide. What are the other results from the field which operational intelligence delivers? Over to you, Lovelene.
Thanks, Hitesh. Now, this is, I brought this slide up because we were discussing about the results that
Yes.
Sangeetha gadgets could drive with what we could do with the AI. Now, you see this 4 specific aspects that we were able to drive results and improved results on. We saw a 25% improvement on the post-call intelligent routing, post-intelligent call routing. This is based on, again, AI being relevant and how it had helped us there. We saw local discovery and impressions enhanced through AI was able to increase by roughly about 18% on Google Maps. We also saw almost a 30% faster acknowledgement within 24 hours with the use of AI, where the review response rate increased and consumers were getting immediate responses, almost real time. And we also saw 15% uplift from AI-led ops streamlining in terms of inquiry to visit conversion, where the call drops were answered faster and the customers were re-engaged faster, even if they were call drops earlier. While there are opportunities that still can be optimized, the business can be optimized through AI, but so far, a lot of improvement has happened just with a simple use of AI. I want to bring in a point here that it's not just about what we can do with AI in terms of getting the consumers to engage with us, But there are a lot of agentic AI use cases, especially when we talk about scaling up of multi-store brands, 100 plus stores. There are a lot of agentic AIs that can be used to do actions real time compared to how human interventions which take time in executing. Right now in signal interface, for example, we have 10 agentic AIs that operate almost real time on each and every location that we are managing for each and every brand. These agentic AIs range from one, presence management, where we are managing inaccuracies in data, and it holds true for all the brands, including Sangeetha gadgets. There are inaccuracies and updating the information that happens real time. There is Insights AI, which gives us real-time speech to text converted insights based on sentiment analysis and clear actionables for the brand. There are engagement AIs, which act again at a location level and bring to the fore what are the opportunities to engage more optimally with a particular consumer or a demographic set. And then we kind of also create a lot of location-specific web pages to optimize and increase the and enhance the visibility of a brand on the internet searches. And there's a pages AI that we have created, which again optimizes the whole ranking for that web page when a typical search is made. So talking about just a few, but we have about, like I mentioned, I'm just reiterating, 10 specific agentic AIs that operate at scale, real time, giving the brands such an advantage.
Thanks, Lovely. If you can now move forward. Yeah.
Okay. Now this brings us to the point where we are looking at what does the future demands from a business perspective. Clearly, we've discussed almost 45-50 minutes, and this is a no-brainer. That's the truth of now. AI is clearly the backbone for future-ready retail operations. Retail owners cannot escape the truth that unless they are leveraging AI, they will be lagging behind clearly versus the competition. So now is the moment to act. Multi-location brands, they need to have real-time decision making if they have to stay relevant from an online digital visibility perspective. AI, like we discussed this earlier in the previous slides, it unifies everything, be it store discovery, be it customer inquiries, feedback from the consumers, actionables based on the feedback and the analysis, all of it into one clear action-driven system. And it takes care of the human lag, which can creep in, and it's only human to kind of err and also act at a certain pace. AI takes care of that, doing all of it real time.
Real time is the key word there.
Real time is the key
And
word.
offline, not only in internet, Lovelene, even in offline as well. Real time is the key for us.
Lovelene, you have done with your slide?
Yes, we are done. Just wanted to kind of quickly go to the next slide and invite questions from our viewers.
So all our colleagues on this webinar, we have got before the webinar also we had got a lot of questions, and even during this we have got questions that are very, very pertinent and very important for today's business operations. I'm going to randomly select a couple of them and ask Lovelene about what he feels and how this can be best answered. First question for Lovelene would be, in what way AI can be used to ensure that consumer behavior is influenced to sell certain product categories?
Yeah, that's a interesting question. I'll in fact expand that to not just product categories, but even any decision making that AI has to do and how AI can help leverage and influence the consumer in their decision making process. Now, traditionally, marketing has been a linear funnel approach where there is a visibility, and then the consumer moves to a stage where they are considering the brand, and then lastly, they act on what they have considered, and that's where the exact point of transaction happens with a brand. Now, with the advent of the digital age, with the advent of streaming platforms and multiple mediums through which consumers today can engage with a brand, and not just the brand, but digitally anywhere, things have gotten a lot. In fact, if you look at from outsider perspective, a lot messed up. But there's a clear pattern that is emerging. I was recently reading a study done by BCG in collaboration with Google, where they identified that the standard marketing approach cannot be just reach based, but it has to be an influence map based. Now, look at a consumer, for example. There is a user who is active on streaming platforms, will probably do the, will view the brand there, will also consider, and will also probably act and shop, but maybe at different, in terms of the engagement level will be different at the time of visibility, at the time of consideration, and the time of action. AI can currently, and as I speak, it's happening. AI can read those trends, analyze a customer profile, understand exactly where are they getting influenced more, and at all of these three stages, and then give those insights to the brand, telling the brand that for so and so consumer cohort, this is how they actually act on and are getting influenced on a particular brand's visibility or product portfolio or service portfolio. And this is where AIs can tremendously help the brand position themselves in the right way to address each consumer cohort. At the moment, going with what we have as a traditional linear funnel will probably achieve only so much. But what we have seen practically achievable is probably 2.5 to 3x returns based on AI-based analysis and actions.
Before I come to Chandu for his final comments, Lovelene, there is one more question for you. How does one maintain brand consistency while localizing marketing efforts so that the brand doesn't look disingenuous to the audience?
Absolutely critical. There is no denying the fact that, and especially like I mentioned, Google is a predominant search engine across the world. And that's how Google looks at it. They look at consistency of information. If the brands are not consistent, if the information that is being managed is not consistent not just in terms of the representation on Google platforms, but also across the internet. There could be multiple platforms, multiple areas where the brand maybe is doing their, the brand promotion, or they are exhibiting the visibility. If the information stays inconsistent, Google clearly, we've seen that, and that's a fact, will downgrade the ranking of that particular brand and at that particular location. So extremely important for brands to and retailers to prioritize maintaining consistency, and that cannot be achieved at scale. I am saying this to be, for being something repetitive, but this cannot be achieved at scale with human interventions. We have to go the agentic AI direction, and that's the only way that this can be sustainable in the long run and also be very accurate.
Thanks, Lovelene. Chandu, your final comments on this, please.
If you want anything to do with customer and agentic AI, you can go search for information on your own, or you could just reach out to Lovelene. It's as simple as that. But if you want to do more than that, there is a lot more stuff on retail. Other places also AI needs to do. So I want Rai to take this up. Why I openly spell out all the things that we are yet to do also, or what all we are doing also so openly, is that only when other retailers also take up these AI tasks, the cost for Sangeetha also goes down.
That was a good one, Chandu. But I take your point that Rai should take.
Hello, lost you there.
Yeah, I think we kind of lost Hitesh.
We, in fact, see, for us, it's a tech retail, right? We are in, so we can never be found wanting on anything AI or anything tech. Sorry, we lost you, Hitesh. I think you're back now. Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. No. I just wanted to sum this up. Whatever discussions and deliberations we had here today. So from manual ops, we went to connected ops with AI, and now we are at adaptive, intelligent customer experience, is what Loveline's slide, mentioned. Real-time connected decision making is very imperative for today's business at whatever store number of stores you are. But that real-time connected decision is something which you cannot miss out. You want to engage customers, you want to scale up your stores, you want real-time actions, you want real-time data analytics, updated info, insights, engagement, location specific, etc., rankings. All these things will be done, and many more will be done through AI. AI leverages and influences customer and thus your business. So in today's webinar, I think we have deliberated a lot on what AI is going to do to our business. I want to thank Chandu Reddy specifically for sharing all his experience with AI with single interface, and I want to thank Loveline also for sharing the fundamentals of AI, what they can do, for a multi-location retail brand owner or a retail brand which is spread across multi-locations, the handling of customers, operations, feedback, so on and so forth. So this was a fantastic 1 hour masterclass, I would like to say. Thanks to Loveline for sharing all these insights. It was pleasure. And
We have some
yes,
AI hardware also.
yeah, AI hardware
Recently,
also.
see, we are a retailer, so we can implement AI software, or we can sell other people's AI hardware.
Sure. That point taken, Chandu, now that you are Sangeetha Gadgets. But thank you very much for sharing your insights, gentlemen. It was a pleasure. Thank you very much.
Thank you so
Thank you,
much.
Hitesh. Thank you, Chandu. Thank you, everyone, for joining in. It was a pleasure.